Hey guys, welcome back. It's me, Nora. If you remember from last time, or if this is your first time, welcome. So happy to have you here. Today I am talking about one of my favorite subjects in books, because I thought that'd be a really good place to start, something I'm super excited about, which are my favorite plays. I want to talk a little bit first about what makes a great play so that I'm not repeating myself throughout. Let's crack into it. For me, a lot of great writing boils down to character, but I think when you consider the medium of playwriting and the fact that it's meant to be a performance, character is even more essential than in any other form of literature, because at least in other forms of literature, like, okay, if the dialogue isn't great, if there's not great characterization, hopefully there's at least some interesting action to pull things through. But in a performance, it's all about the actors and what they can bring to a role. But of course, it's not just about actors. Performances allow plays to live so many different lives, depending on the director, the actor, what the playwright originally intended, and even elements like dramaturgs and effect managers. They can bring different elements of an artist's original work to life, and they can tell new stories. They can adapt these stories to different formats. All that being said, it might make it sound like the most important part of a play is what happens on stage, and I guess some people would think that's true, but there are a lot of parts of a play that are more important on the page than on the stage. Dr. Seuss alert! When I'm reading a play, I appreciate when there's a lot of guidance on scene setting, even if that guidance is something like an empty stage. Here's where they are, but we're not showing the audience that. Or, this is happening and it's also silent. There's no music, there's no lighting. Because it shows some thoughtfulness not only on what's being said, but on what the audience should be reading between the lines. And I think when you're sitting in the audience of an actual show, rather than reading in a book, you're less inclined to think like, why am I not being shown lighting here? When on the page it might be more explicit that you aren't, and it might really make you think. So I said in my intro video, and I guess I'm doing it here, that I love analyzing literature. I don't think it should be a surprise that I love reading plays, because there's so much intention hidden under the surface. And it's not just about what's written on the page. Playwrights have to think about how it's going to look and sound and feel. So, that being said, without further ado, put your cell phones on silent and enjoy the show. It's a nice little joke for you theater people. Let's start with my favorites that probably everyone knows, maybe you already love, or maybe you hate. The Fiery Passion. I mean, you can probably guess this is where I'm going to start. Streetcar Named Desire and The Glass Menagerie, both by Tennessee Williams, both masterpieces. Anyone who's friends with me in real life will know that I reread Streetcar at least once a year, and that in high school I wrote a song based on The Glass Menagerie, so this is my baby. Williams is such a master, obviously, so I won't spend too much time on these. I love these because the characters are so brilliant, they feel so real, they act like how real people would act when facing these consequences, which I think is what makes his tragedies so heart-wrenching, and these are both tragedies. What I really love about reading these plays is the effort and thought he's put into productions, specifically lays out the correct use of music, lighting, projections, effects. It's really something to behold, and I think people can get caught up in these characters and the bad things that happen and walk away from these plays disliking those elements. And I understand, not fun to watch tragedy, it's not really what it's about, but if you're considering rereading these or reading them for the first time, I'd really encourage you to consider his use of symbols, especially light and sound, the way he sets the tone of scenes. I did want to share a really excellent example from Menagerie because I think it's probably the less recognized work of the two. A lot of people read Streetcar in high school, so this is describing one of the main characters, and it's a really good use of light imagery. Laura stands in the middle of the room with lifted arms while Amanda crouches before her, adjusting the hem of a new dress, devout and ritualistic. The dress is colored and designed by memory. The arrangement of Laura's hair is changed. It is softer and more becoming. A fragile, unearthly prettiness has come out in Laura. She is like a piece of translucent glass touched by light, given a momentary radiance. Not actual, not lasting. Isn't that beautiful? Not actual, not lasting. So yeah, these are my first two recommendations. Not that anyone's probably never read them before if you're on BookTube, but it would be remiss to not mention them. Next up is another English class great, Raisin in the Sun by Lorraine Hansberry. I love this one too. From the epigraph, Langston Hughes, at the beginning, which it's so famous for and where it derives its name, to the end, even though the ending is subdued and doesn't really leave you with closure, this play is a ride, and it is driven by its characters. This is the story of the Youngers. They're a black family living in Chicago, and they're grappling with how they're going to spend $10,000 from the life insurance policy of their family patriarch. I love Hansberry's use of a single family, with its members having vastly different dreams and beliefs about the world and who they should be in the world. It breaks down like the monolith of the black experience. So often these characters are communicating with each other, and they're scenes driven by the family, but oftentimes they're really speaking to themselves, trying to figure out what it is they want. A lot of times later in this video I'm going to talk about plays that are driven by monologue and driven by really internal feelings. This is a great one where each character is driven by their internal feelings and they make those very clear, but there's still so many scenes of great dialogue between one or more characters. Moving on to some of the lesser known works that I'm going to talk about, hopefully the reason you joined this video. The first one, let's talk about a character study. I've already mentioned monologues, so let's just get into it. Reasons to be Pretty by Neil Labute. This is a play that follows four people. One is a couple and one is another couple, but they break up in the very beginning, all noted of varied levels of attractiveness. Based on the title, it shouldn't be too much of a surprise. I'd say this goes in the exact opposite of a Tennessee Williams kind of scene-setting precision. This play is really quick fire, and a lot of the setting is left up for interpretation. So, you might see this play adapted in different places for different theaters, and it can look pretty drastically different. I want to specifically point out the opening stage directions from Labute because I just think they're amazing. This is the very beginning of the play. Lights burst on at home. Two people in their bedroom, already deep in the middle of it. A nice little fight. Wham! It's a stage direction, an onomatopoeia. Isn't that incredible? Incredible work from Labute. But where he does roll in this story more closely is during the moments of introspection, these lengthy monologues in between scenes where characters are on the stage alone and they're expressing their feelings about their attractiveness. It gives the audience a moment to catch its breath in a pacing way, but these are the really hard-hitting moments. He puts a lot of focus in directing the delivery of these lines within the script. There's like a great emphasis on beats and speech patterns. So if you're looking for a play that really allows you a look into people's heads, this is the one for you. It does have really unhappy moments. I think that you could probably guess that based on what I've said about it, but nothing beyond little everyday miseries that I think we all have in relationships. It can be really comic as well, and it has just parts that are absolutely hilarious. So highly recommend. Okay, the next one, we're taking a completely different spin. Yet again, this list is kind of all over the place. I'm recommending The Laramie Project by Moises Kaufman and the members of the Tectonic Theater Project. If you're wondering about that byline, it's based on actual interviews conducted by the Tectonic Theater Project, as well as news clips from this event. It tells the story of the murder of Matthew Shepard, just outside Laramie, Wyoming, the hate crime against a young gay college student at the hands of two other young men in the town, It set the community reeling. It became a national news event, and this tells the story from beginning to end, from when he was found to the trial of the two boys. Because this is not only based on a true story, but the roles are explicitly based on actual conversations and news footage of the community, what makes this show great is the way they bring it all together. So, you know, I made the point that not everything is about seeing it on stage. I think you can gain a lot just from knowing this story and reading these accounts, but I do think this is one where the magic kind of happens on stage, so I will give that. I have seen this play done by professional groups, by amateur, community theaters, and by students, and every single time I've walked away, I've left the theater weeping, feeling kind of empty, feeling like the world is a terrible place and a beautiful place at the same time. You know, I recommend seeing this if at all possible, but also reading it because it's a really important story, and the way they have told it is something really special. Do you love dysfunctional families and prescription drug-induced madness? If the answer is no, don't read this. August, Osage County by Tracy. But also, you should definitely read this. I've gotten kind of technical with the other shows on this list, talking about what I like, about like the direction, doing my little analysis thing. But what I can say about this is that there are monologues from this play that have stopped me in my tracks. I have had to put this book down. I've had to mark my place. You can see I have a few monologues marked. That being said, any actress who can take on a role from this play, any of the women, are you okay? I hope you get the therapy you need, because this is a hard hitter. It won the Pulitzer Prize for Drama. It's formidable. It's an emotional powerhouse. It's not an easy read. I think people look at a short play and think, oh, I can digest that pretty easy. Not this one. But if you can put your head down and you can get through it, I think it's a very rewarding one. The last one, and perhaps my favorite, even if it is just my favorite for the reason that I've known it the longest, this is The Effect of Gamma Rays on Man in the Moon Marigolds by Paul Zindel. Say that 10 times fast. This show from 1970 also won the Pulitzer Prize for Drama. It's another study of a family in conflict. I guess you can tell that I like that. But it's my favorite on the list because even from the opening monologue, it takes the subject matter of this family somewhere much deeper. Like, why are we here on Earth, even when things are totally miserable, even when people mistreat us and are cruel to us? Where did we come from? Where did we get these feelings? You'll like this play if you enjoyed Matilda, because it's another tale of a girl. Her name's Tilly. She has a brilliant mind. She has a cruel mother. No one near her has made an effort to cultivate her intelligence except for one caring teacher who recognizes her talent for science. So it's about their relationship. It's about her mother's relationship with her and her older sister. And Zindel actually does us a favor at the very beginning of this, pulling a line from each character that best describes them. I think for casting purposes, but I am going to share them with you because when I was reading them, it just gives a great idea of what the book is like. The characters: Tilly, the girl. In front of my eyes, one part of the world was becoming another. Atoms exploding, atom after atom breaking down into something new. It would go on for millions of years. Beatrice, the mother. This long street, with all the doors of the houses shut and everything crowded next to each other, and then I start getting afraid that the vegetables are going to spoil, and that nobody's going to buy anything. And Ruth, the older daughter. Well, they say I came out of the room, and I started down the stairs step by step, and then I heard the choking and banging on the bed. So I love, the perspective that puts you in for each character, where Tilly is so consumed by the world at large. She's thinking about atom by atom breaking down. It's so minute, but it's also so key to the universe as a whole. Meanwhile, her mother is stuck on the street and is worried about the vegetables spoiling. So if this piqued your interest, please read it and please tell me what you think, because I'm dying to talk to someone about this play. It's also a movie, which it's actually a great adaptation. So thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you for letting me talk about something I'm so excited about. I hope that my personality came through a little bit more because I care so much about these works. If you like this video, please like and subscribe for more. Tell me your favorite plays. I'd love to read more. I recognize that this list is largely male, first of all. I think Raisin in the Sun is the only one with a woman author, so if anyone has recommendations for me to diversify this list, I'd love to hear it. Thanks for watching. Until next time,